After I was completely dressed, Sal led me the way down to the kitchen. When we hit the foyer, we both paused to look towards the back door, but made no attempt to move towards it, knowing who was out there, but no knowing how he was feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. This normally helps cheer Orlando and myself up when we're feeling down.
I didn't know the kitchen had a back door to the backyard, but that's the last concern, honestly. Having something sweet?
So long as it's in moderation.
It helps fend off the dementors.
Fresh watermelon is my favorite, as long as the weather is nice.
And if it isn't?
Well, if the weather's bad, then I eat other things.
Why do I have to explain this?
Times like that is where I'd be ordering a hot chocolate while out with Dean, my best friend. Sounds like they should be the ones dating.
Yeah. Almost makes me wonder what Roswell would go with.
Because...
Well, he's always eating sweet things, right? I forgot that was a character trait of his.
Yeah, it's easy to forget because he's done it once in his life.
I feel like it came up a lot, but up to like day 5, and then it became, have you forgotten what he's done to us? And then he disappeared. So that's his baseline. What does he go for?
This is a good point. Maybe it'd be worth asking sometime. That leaves you, however.
Me? As in what I'd like?
Unless you're happy with some strawberry ice cream. Remember the ice cream? Remember the strawberry ice cream?
Ice cream? I don't remember the strawberry ice cream. Was this a thing before?
This was a thing before. Sal was like, have you ever had ice cream before? I just had strawberry ice cream and it was amazing. You're like way back at the start of the story. Literally on like day 2, it was the dessert that Benson gave them and they were shocked about it.
And your brain broke because they were talking about strawberry ice cream and tiramisu like they've never encountered food before.
Yes,
right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I am, but I guess I'm not that picky.
That's a lie. You're a liar, Dave.
This is why Dean broke up with you. What do you mean?
It's very funny. Jelly beans. You like jelly beans. I'm prescribing you this.
Oh yeah, but not just any jelly beans though.
Pear flavored ones. I know.
But
what?
How?
Tyson.
Huh. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense that he'd know.
He also said you were allergic to the blueberry ones. Wow, Dave and I have something in common. He got that from me.
You're allergic to blueberry jelly beans?
I'm allergic to blueberry food dye. Like the food dye that they put.
Dye.
Yeah, so like the artificial color that every company uses for blueberries, it gives me hives.
That's interesting. I was literally about to be like, that's so specific. What the fuck is he talking about?
No, it's a real thing. It's like
I was like, wouldn't all the different jelly beans be made of the same things?
Basically?
No,
the blue color dye that they use in certain blueberry flavored candies and sweets is actually a super common allergy, and it's why over time a lot of things that were blue colored are now a lighter blue color because the previous color triggers allergic reactions in people. It's why, for example, like Powerade, like the old blue Powerade was a much deeper blue color than it is now. Things like that. I discovered this as a child when I ate a little Debbie, those like Hostess Little Debbie blueberry pies that come in the crinkly waxy paper at gas stations. My mom got me one as a kid, like, and I was in the car. I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I had one, and I had to go to the hospital. So
no.
Yeah, it was like a sudden, very alarming situation for everyone involved.
Well, we all learned something today from Password.
Yeah, you did.
Oh no, I'm not allergic. They just make my tongue feel funny.
That sounds an awful lot like an allergic reaction. That's an allergic reaction.
It's not, I promise.
In light of not having any specific jelly beans, is ice cream fine? Okay, so he just wasted our time. He was like, Do you want jelly beans? We don't have them. Sorry, Dave.
They were displaying that he knows something about Dave, I guess, because he takes an interest in him and asks Tyson about him, which is neat. But also very strange. Once again, the conversation flow is strange because he introduces the idea. Dave says, I'm not picky. And Sal says, that's a lie. You like jelly beans. Okay. That doesn't mean he's picky. That just means he likes jelly beans. That you just added a thing he would also eat. And then introduced the idea that he's allergic to blueberry jelly beans, which isn't being a picky eater. That's being allergic to blueberry jelly beans. And then you just don't eat that one specific thing. And then we never got the idea. We never got evidence of Dave being picky. We lost that thread. Like, it just does not flow. Oh, yes.
Just a moment then. There should be some leftover from the last time it was used.
Oh? I watched as he wandered over the freezer and pulled out a tub, opening it and looking inside.
There's enough, but after this, there's none left.
Really? I didn't think we'd go through a whole tub, given, well, we would have gone through it faster if everyone was eating it, right? What?
I've been eating it, yeah. I may have been sneaking a spoonful here or there just when I need a little pick-me-up.
How big was the tub? Is it like a Baskin-Robbins tub? Because if it's a fucking, like, grocery store thing of ice cream, that's not much ice cream. Back in my greedier days, I'd go through one of those in like 3 bowls. He wandered over to retrieve 2 spoons and then held the tub out for me to take. Following that, a spoon, while he held onto the second one. I'm sorry. Password could do with almost all of the logistical dialogue or logistical exposition cut. Like, just almost never do you need to describe in such great detail what people are doing each day if it's not going to actually go anywhere, or everyone like having a conversation like, what are you going to do today? Are you going to go to the pool? Okay. And then you're not going to like see a scene of that, so who cares? But like, this is like, he got the tub and 2 spoons.
Yeah.
He wandered over to retrieve
Correct.
2 spoons, then held out the tub for me to take. Following that, a spoon. Well, he held on to the second one. I'm like, yes, no, I got it. I understood what the 2 spoons were for. It's like 3 times the amount of words needed to express the thought that everyone already figured out. And it's just, and there's not like a flourish to how it's described visually. There's not characterization in how the action is being performed. It's just explaining the action in excruciating detail to the point of being redundant.
Yes. I've already read this line, I think.
Oh, I somehow went backwards.
Go ahead. It's good.
Taking a peek into the tub, I thought there wasn't a whole lot left, but took my spoon and took out a rationed out amount to have a taste.
I feel things are gonna get more complicated in the coming days, so small blessings like this are going to be all the more important.
It's weird. So I've been hinted at the idea. People have hinted at the idea this game is divided into 3 acts, and intuitively that's probably the 3 10-day chunks or something close to that. But it's weird that every character is starting to say, like, if you go any further, you're at the point of no return, like in an RPG.
Yeah.
Because this is what Thanatos told us earlier.
Yes.
But why would they? There's no. So Thanatos can say that because Thanatos is a time travel god door thing.
Yes.
Sal's just here, and nothing has happened today, or yesterday,
Yeah.
or the day before. Like, this would be a thing to react. This would be a way to react to like day 15, but he's just arbitrarily having this weirdly sober moment when nothing's happening.
Yeah. I mean, the way that this reads is Sal is like, I've eaten too much ice cream. Our food stores are reducing, Dave. Things are gonna get too bad, Dave. Which is just like, all right, whatever.
Going to have to consume our friends, Dave. You consider ice cream a blessing?
Not when you say it like that.
What?
Still, compared to what you saw happen in the fall, well,
In general?
I mean about tonight with Tyson.
Oh, was it Werewolf Night? Right.
I'm sorry, but that's just a thing you've been shown to happen, right?
But I've stopped it, haven't I?
I sure hope so.
Still making the strange choice of telling basically no one involved, or making any additional precautions. Or even just like the idea of watching Tyson or putting him somewhere or anything. He took a small spoonful from the ice cream and put it into his mouth. I could see him coating his tongue with it before pulling the spoon clean from his mouth. Ew. Ew. I don't like the idea. Ew. No. Why'd you describe it like that? It's upsetting. He's just like Sal, wide open crocodile mouth, like he's trying to catch a bird, and he's just like stroking the spoon of ice cream along his tongue in the open air. Like that's what it means to say you can see him. Like this is upsetting. Do you really think things are going to get bad?
They sure aren't great now, Dave. I'm worried that everyone is going to start pointing fingers at one another and fights to break out. I'm worried that everyone is going to start pointing fingers at one another and fights to break out.
Yeah, that sentence doesn't work at all. But also, once again, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening, and the scenario, and Dave hasn't told anyone about the scenario. So you can't also be like, tensions are rising, Dave. It's the night of Tyson's thing. Everyone's going to start pointing fingers. I'm like, no, because we didn't tell anyone about that. And we supposedly fixed it. Like, you can't, the tension should be rising because we should have told everyone about it and we should be kind of worried about it, but that's not happening. So the existing conflict of how Tyson fits into the overall friend group, and that being escalated by the idea that he's supposedly a threat, is not coming into play narratively because no one knows about it, and so no one's talking about it and no one's dealing with it. And that could have been like akin to like the discussion of like how Dave's father was handled and so on. Like that could be very much the plot of the last few days, is how people are dealing with this information, but no one knows it, so no one's doing anything or thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're friends. We wouldn't do that, would we?
The longer we're in it, the mindset that we're trapped on this mountain, then it's an increasing risk. I guess they are trapped, so their food stores are probably at risk.
Yeah, although they were designed to at least last the month. That was the premise.
Yeah.
And, you know, at least one person that was eating them died, so... But, I'm just like, they keep setting up stakes that could explain what they're going for, then not using them, and then coming up with a separate explanation. Like, but we're trapped, so, like, we're probably gonna get more tense soon. But not like the actual, like there's tensions right there to use. Just use them. He sighed, sitting down next to me while I went for another spoonful of ice cream.
If I had to guess, Tyson's going to potentially break first, followed by Dean. if only because of Roswell riling people up. Why is everyone saying that Tyson's gonna break first? Tyson is the most stable person here. Even when he was being mean about something, it was like, turn off the fucking TV. Like, this is the thing, is that we get shown this stupid thing that implants this idea that Tyson's gonna lose his mind, but Tyson is still the most stable person.
But he's also just implying, he's outright saying Roswell's just gonna fuck with Tyson and Dean until they snap. Like, Jesus Christ.
I just don't get it. I
guess
just don't get
that's the most accurate
the
part.
characters.
Although, since when does Roswell antagonize Dean?
I don't know. Why did the thing that we're slowly learning over time is that at the beginning of the story, Dave brings Tyson and people are like, oh, how could you bring him? He's a shit stirrer. But as the course of the game has gone on, it's just the person that they should have been shocked that we bring is Roswell, because Roswell's the shit stirrer.
Just outright, just confessing that he'll just ruin people. You think he'd do that on purpose?
I think he does it sometimes without realizing.
That face he makes tells me he realizes.
I think he does it sometimes without realizing. Granted, I think he does enjoy getting a rise out of certain people, as in all people who are currently here right now.
Yeah. So we tell him to stop?
That would then leave Orlando potentially, but a lot of that is out of up to his father being around.
What? His father that we've never met and has not done anything yet.
Yeah.
Wait, why are we acting like his father's part of the story? So we tell them both to stop?
A nice thought, but not that simple. When tensions are high, people just change. Surely you remember, don't you?
Remember? From when? What does he mean? Also, he didn't actually say what Orlando would do. Like, now next, Orlando's the one. Did he even mean that Orlando will crack next, or Orlando's the one that will antagonize people? I'm not sure. You mean when?
When I dangled you over the pool, yes. Okay.
Right.
Fear, anxiety, stress, all of these things can radically affect someone when things hit a fever pitch. Can things pretty please hit a fever pitch? I'm begging you.
Do it. So how do we deal with that?
I'm not entirely sure. If there was a way, then, well, it escapes me. I try and just keep a level head, but that's not gonna work for the whole group.
He looked me over, a slight tilt to his head as he chose his words carefully.
Truthfully, I worry how long you're going to last as well. You don't need to worry about that. He already hasn't lasted. This character has gone completely fucking insane.
You don't think I'm going to last very long?
Maybe 2 to 3 minutes under the sheets once things get really hot and heavy, Dave. Mentally, the worst case scenario is going to be very taxing. I dare say the fight or flight response is going to be triggered in some people.
Prepare to be mind-wiped, Dave. Sal, you're scaring me a little. You really think things are gonna get that bad? The month is almost over. Then we're in the clear, right? Why would that be the case? That was the case.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
That's the case if you purely buy into Oswin's very poorly introduced concept of what's happening that was never fully explained, and you kind of don't really get what's happening. But I don't think that Memphis cares about the 30 days.
Yeah, they're trapped here. What does 30 days passing have to do with them being able to get out of being trapped here?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not entirely convinced that's going to be the case.
Not even a little?
Trust me, I would like that to be the case. I really do. I would like that. Oh, yes. Okay, that does make sense. The circumstances, but with what we know of who's in the woods, the circumstances surrounding this mansion and who's in it, we don't know who is in the woods. We established that they all didn't believe Dave when he said there was a murderer out in the woods, and people even in the comments pointed out that no one actually saw. No one actually saw what happened.
No, the thing they didn't believe him about was Oz's death for a long time, but.
But when we came back running with Jack, they didn't see Jack. Benson shot at Dave for a reason no one understood. There was no one around. When they came in, Dave was like, there's something going on out there. And they were like, okay, Dave, are you sure you're not stressed? Let's drug you.
Well, yeah, they didn't respond well to him when he first ran in, but I think that everyone understands that Jack's out there. I think they've like talked about it and so on.
I wasn't under the impression that no one actually believed, or no one was like fully on the same page about that. They just know that the road has allegedly exploded.
No, I think Jack's on the table and everyone knows about Jack because they've been keeping watch. They were keeping watch for Jack, I think, before the road exploded.
They were keeping watch though because they did it as a like okay, Dave, we'll keep watch. No one has actually seen him yet. No one knows he's actually out there.
Yes, no one's seen him, but I think everyone believes him.
Okay.
Because what happened is Dean ran in on Benson seemingly shooting at Dave, and then that was explained. And then, as far as I'm aware, everyone's been on the same page there. They just didn't.
Okay.
They didn't react with that information clearly when Dave was first having his like panic attack. Let's see. And that Dad was here.
Almost seems too calculated, doesn't it? Planned, I mean.
Well, yeah. Roswell organized it with his parents, didn't he?
Wait. Is this the first confirmation we've gotten 100% that Roswell organized this with his parents?
Yeah, I think so. Because, like...
Did Dave just know that the whole time then?
Seemingly, because like kind of confusing. I think because we kept arguing about this early on, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. Because we were like, it was a sweepstakes, right? Because the phrase "all expenses paid" was used, but not the word "won." But we backfilled that because that just feels right. But it was like, no, it's like something about his family. I don't think it even said his parents originally. I think it said like, I think it was some kind of thing with Roswell's family. Yeah,
he just said someone in Roswell's family or like knew someone.
Yeah.
They never said that they organized this specifically, just that they knew someone.
And I wasn't sure if it was parents before.
Yeah. So that's weird. I feel like this game is yanking us around a little bit. Not what I meant, unless you're accusing Roswell to be the reason we're in the situation we're in.
But he literally set up the vacation.
Not exactly what I mean.
He wandered over the sink to wash his spoon, and I joined him, setting aside the now empty ice cream tub.
Are you feeling better now?
Who would be feeling better when you just had this conversation?
My head hurts.
Sal is fascinating. What is his deal? Because you just dumped so much on him about how everyone's going to be escalating and maybe killing each other or snapping and turning on each other as the food stores run low, or everyone gets paranoid while we're trapped, and we're talking about how maybe Roswell did this. You feel better now? You've had ice cream. The detail that was literally forgotten about this scene because of the actual conversation that was happening. Like I was like, oh right, they're having ice cream. A little. That was some nice ice cream, but it's a shame there's none left.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. You seemed like you needed it.
What are you gonna do when you need something to pick you up now, though?
I'll manage somehow.
I'll have a salad. Sal, you don't have to tackle things alone. Rich coming from me, but...
You're getting better at it, and you're right. Would I be able to impose upon you for, say, a hug when things start getting to me?
Sal, I've slept on you multiple times.
Yeah. These people aren't people.
Did you want one now? I gestured with my arms wide and he stepped forward, patting me lightly on the head.
Right now I'm doing okay, thank you. Ew,
Sure.
I don't want to hug you, Dave.
He did not sound like he was doing well. But also, when someone offers to get a hug, you just do it. Unless you're against hugs or something. Like, obviously there are people who are, but in this context, it's weird to be like, no, I don't need one. Anyway. Like, the level of obliviousness that is like, it's very tonally strange to introduce the idea of a hug and be offered a hug and then say no. Like, because then the person's just like, oh, you don't want to hug me. Okay.
Yes. Very strange.
Stand here not hugging. Sure. Well,
what are you planning on doing now?
Honestly, I don't know. I still feel kind of unsure how things with Dean is going to play out. Should I talk to Orlando about it? Should I go check with Dean? Angie face.
Leave Dean alone,
How about
you monster. You ruined him, Dave.
Why is he making an Angie face instead of a sad face? That's just strange. But also, I don't know, man. Dave, maybe deal with the plot at some point. Just think about it a little. Sorry.
Talking with Orlando might be equally volatile.
Why? Wait, why?
What does Orlando have anything to do with this?
What's happening with Orlando? Orlando doesn't know he's supposed to die tonight, which is cruel of you. That's mean that you haven't. That's like you haven't even introduced the idea that he's in danger. But like, and also, why isn't Tyson on Dave's list given the werewolf thing? What about you then? What are your plans?
I was going to go see if Dean is doing all right, but I'd rather not deal with him right now.
Harsh.
Maybe, but he'd do well in some time alone to sort out his feelings. Probably for the best that he doesn't have access to a working phone at the moment, too.
Really? You wouldn't want to call home?
I feel like he'd desperately want to try and call someone, but not for the right reason. He'd call them for the wrong reasons. He'd call in a hit on you, Dave. He's gonna kill you, Dave. His ex, potentially, if he could ever find out the phone number.
And that's bad because...
Dave. Dean is in a very vulnerable emotional state right now. The last thing he needs is to be putting himself in an even more dangerous situation by dredging up his emotional baggage.
I don't think I really understand. Is this a relationship thing?
What? Dave. Dave, can you please stop being who you are for 2 seconds and just be a real person? I am losing my mind. I'm actually going crazy. In a sense, made worse because it's a romantic relationship, but I imagine most relationships have the potential to become this ugly.
Huh. Okay.
Would you like to go play a board game? I'm feeling a little out of my depth answering these questions.
Want to play a game? Sal led the way to the rec room without really giving me another option but to follow. He'd forcibly ended the conversation, but it was probably for the best. I had enough to think about, as it was already. Wasn't he I guess he didn't imply he wasn't going to continue the conversation playing the board game. I sat down at a table and watched as he rummaged for a game. There were a few he pulled and examined and put back, seemingly unsatisfied before bringing over a single box.
This one.
What did you pick?
Scrabble.
How do we play? Dave? Dave? You don't know how to play Scrabble?
All right, today is going to be a day, I think. I think we're going to be having a day. We're having a day with Dave and Sal.
A day.
You've never played before? I might not know what salad is, but that's ridiculous, Dave. Patently ridiculous.
What you do is you eat the pieces that spell food words. Can't say I have. A lot of the games we played at home, pretty gimmicky. This looks like a game for smart people that can know what words exist.
You're plenty smart, Dave.
I wish. If Tyson wasn't here, I'm pretty sure I'd be the dumbest one here. Even then, there's stuff Tyson knows that I don't.
I wouldn't put yourself down so readily. We all have our areas of expertise. You've seen me cooking, after all. I don't know what a salad is, Dave.
Remember? That's true. Huh. I guess I never thought about it like that. Dave is
Would you like to... Oh, go on.
That's it. Just Dave is 8.
Oh.
I've never considered the idea that people have different abilities and knowledge.
Would you like to play something else? I'd like something that we could both enjoy, not something that's going to make you feel dumb.
No, we can try this at least. If it doesn't work out, it's not as if we can try something else, right?
Right.
He sat down and placed the box between us, setting things up. The first word he wrote was betrayal, heartbreaker, homewrecker. He never really explained what kind of game this is.
Right, you're gonna have tiles with letters on them and you have to make words.
Sounds easy enough.
But you have to place your tiles down so they connect to the words I make. And you place your tile, where you place your tiles will determine how much you score.
Wait, they wouldn't say Lord of the Rings, but they said Scrabble.
I was just having this thought. I was just having this same thought. I was like, wait, we waffled for 20 minutes on being able to use the brand name Lord of the Rings, but we can talk about Scrabble?
Yeah, I was just like, why are we dodging some names but not other ones? Okay.
You've done a crossword before, yeah? Consider us making one together. Almost.
Oh, sure, that's not so bad. This is
just without the clues, just the completed board.
Terrible way to explain Scrabble. That's very confusing, honestly. Think about how a crossword works. It's not like any of the parts of how a crossword works, but there are letters on a grid. Anyway, can we make up clues later? See, you confused him.
If you want.
You don't think it'll be fun? We don't have to if you're not into it.
Dave, this is not fun. You came up with a bad idea. It's okay. Just the first time someone's wanted to actually make a crossword out of a finished board. You're a freak, Dave. Granted, you haven't seen how the game plays yet, so...
He jostled a bag in front of me and I reached in, pulling out some tiles. When I didn't have enough to start, he gestured for me to continue, then did the same after we were ready to go.
I would like to go first. Or would you like to go first, or should I go?
At this point, I'm desperate to play a different character's route, just to understand whether or not the whole game's written like this, or if it's just Sal and Dave that talk about basic life concepts like they're encountering them for the first time, and they're like having revelations about like the concept of talking about your feelings or what Scrabble is. Like, is this just their dynamic, or is the whole game like this? Like, is this what Dean and Orlando and Tyson talk like? You can? Looking down at his tiles, he quickly put something on the board and pulled more tiles from the bag to replace them.
Now we count up the numbers, and that's how many points I get. Simple.
Oh, sure. So now I just put a word down on the board now?
It has to connect to my word somehow, but yes.
So it didn't say what he spelled. What? Like, I was joking, but I also wasn't joking. Like, this is the moment where if you're gonna actually put Scrabble in your game, unless it's a tiny montage thing and they're having an unrelated conversation during it, which is how movies work, they would be like, it'd be like, you know, like
Cut away.
It'd be like
It would move to something else.
Well, it'd be like you it's like in what's it called? Fuck. Knives Out, when I'm playing Go, you're characterizing the characters and there's an energy to it and they're talking about other stuff a little bit and they just happen to be playing Go. And if you, at least from what I've learned from Lord Ravenscraft, if you actually look at the Go board, you can actually like track what's happening in the game or whatever. But that's not the important part. The important part is just the actual like scene happening around the game of Go. But you can definitely, like, if you're going to have them play Scrabble and you're going to focus on the Scrabble game itself and not having them doing something else and just say they're happening to play Scrabble, then yeah, you would kind of think that they would play words that are characterized in some way or thematic or it showing the biases of what they're thinking about at the moment. So him just not saying what the word is at all is just feels strange. Like, he made a word. Okay, now you do a word. Now I'll do a word. Like, if they're going to just genuinely explain the concept of how you play a game of Scrabble and that's it, then that's not...
Skip the scene.
Yeah, you skip the scene because nothing's happening. At that point, you do just say they play Scrabble, the end. Like, like to play, like as an example, like I just played Dirk the Panda's Ocean Avenue for an intro, and like there's an effort to be made to like, here's these 4 people playing volleyball. They have different strengths and talents and personalities, and that plays into how they're behaving over the course of the game and like how they match up against each other. Like they're and you almost don't need that when it's a thing about sports, because just how well they're doing at the sport is the plot to some extent. But you are separating the characters and discussing how they're separate and how they contrast with each other and and how they match up against each other. So there's this additional purpose to it. So I'm just so caught off guard by the fact that they're not talking about something else, but they are in excruciating detail explaining what Scrabble is to the audience by making Dave not know what Scrabble is, but they also aren't saying what the words are. I'm like, that's just strange. Oh, sure. So now I just put a word down on the board now?
It has to connect to my word somehow, but yes.
We swapped a few turns, with Sal's turns finishing a lot quicker than mine. Not that he said anything of it. He urged me to speed up, but it was clear that he was much better at this.
Yes, Dave, he is in fact better at words than you. Congratulations.
You're really good at this, you know. This is probably a game better played with Roswell.
Perhaps, but I wanted to play it with you.
Well, I'm having fun, I think. It's just hard to think of words.
I spent some time reading a dictionary. I'm not even sure if it was for fun or not anymore, but that's where a lot of these words are coming from.
Reading a dictionary is cursed.
Words came from the dictionary, Dave.
Before this vacation, you didn't really talk much.
I didn't really have much to say. You can do a lot of damage with words, so I'd rather not run the risk of saying the wrong thing. Assumes people listen in the first place. I'm a nihilist now, Dave.
What do you mean?
Finding someone that can listen to your troubles and try to understand you is difficult sometimes.
Doesn't seem so hard, right?
In theory, no, but in practice, it's harder. We have so many things that makes us work as people, and not all of them can easily be understood depending on personal experience.
Nodding slowly, I thought back to the ways I was able to understand Tyson, and the ways I didn't. Most things I now understood was because he showed me things to my face that helped me understand. But then, by comparison, I thought about Haas, and the things he showed me didn't help me at all to understand him any better.
Wow, that's actually true.
Whoa.
You're right.
It was very... Whoa, I wasn't ready for that line.
Oh my god.
You're no different. Seeing how you broke down about your seeing how you broke down about your father made me understand how you bottle things up until your emotional dam bursts. Showed me that you put a lot of trust in Tyson for him to tell the story on your behalf.
It's really not that weird. Truly not a weird thing.
So
I'm a well-adjusted adult and Dave is a teenager. I can't get on him about this. This is fine.
Sal placed more tiles down on the board, pausing before he wrote down the score.
It also told me that you have a lot of faith in us to come to us with the story regardless of the circumstances.
Except he didn't. Except you just said that he didn't. You said that he didn't do that. In fact, he was in a catatonic state, hallucinating what was happening while Tyson was talking to you. He did not come to you to talk about the story. What are you talking about, Sal?
Yeah, no, it kind of just came out in a moment.
It's not even consistent. It's not even being consistent with how it's portraying this event. I am losing my mind. What is happening?
They're at least having a conversation now, though, so I would definitely just say cut the over-explained dialogue about how Scrabble works, because it doesn't matter to the scene. They can just start playing Scrabble. It's fine. You can just have one line. It's like, it's a game where you put down words. The end. And then we'll get it. But that was after I ran into Jack in the woods.
And you were emotionally vulnerable and you felt comfortable telling us as a group rather than pulling us aside individually. Or even getting Tyson to relay it for.
We did not get Tyson to relay it for us. We put you all in grave danger, and then Tyson was the adult in the room and just told everyone what was up. There is a difference. We were not agents in this action, Sal. In fact, that is the entire point of Tyson doing stuff.
There's a moment where it's explained that like Dave pleaded for Tyson to tell the story for him, but the part where Sal says this happened because he was comfortable is baffling to me. I'm like, no, that wasn't really the situation. This wasn't. But I trust you all now. This isn't Bright. I trust you now.
The thing that's confusing to me about this, though, is that there is a difference between Dave coming to them all with this and being like, Tyson, please tell my story for me. I trust you. And Dave being like, I'm having a panic attack and dying, and I'm looking at Tyson, who is the only person I like in this room, who is going to just tell this story regardless of whether or not I say yes. That's not characterization. We are not agents in that action.
Part of me wishes I could be the same, but it was so long ago. That wound has, for the most part, just left a scar.
You mean with your sister?
Yeah, Abby, yes. Not worth bringing up for the most part. There's rarely a time to bring it up either.
But I do it constantly. Did you want to talk about it now?
What, right now?
Only if you want to talk about it. We don't have to. It's just, you have no other discernible things you ever want to talk about. It really is just your sister. Like, there aren't other threads dangling for the most part.
You don't need to hear those kinds of things, Dave, though I appreciate the gesture.
Does he forget every conversation we've had so far?
That's
Like,
literally what I was just thinking
What do you
out
mean
loud.
you don't need to hear those sorts of things? Like, you're keeping your sister a secret? We've talked to her about her at least 3 times. Like, we went past, oh, I watched her drown, and I blame myself, to also, my parents sold her organs? Will you come with me to her grave? But also, you don't need to hear about my sister.
Yeah.
Is it really bad?
It's difficult. After she died, her body was sold for medical research, and that sent my parents down a very greedy road to see how much they could get by subjecting me to various other medical trials.
Is he going to explain this again? This is the 3rd time that this exact explanation has happened.
I think this might
We
be
have gotten this.
I think this might be the first time that he's been explicit about the end part, which I think we just
Well, no, because we
inferred
knew
from
that
the
his
fact-
dad. No, we knew that his parents signed him up for medical trials. He talked about it at length in the kitchen.
I wonder if this will be when they finally realize that it was Oz or something. But
maybe.
It's very weird that he's like, you don't need to hear this stuff, and then he is like explaining it again, but he's explaining it like we don't know, when we definitely have had this conversation already. I remember. What? Is this just happening out of nowhere? He really is just gonna say it was Oz.
Yeah. A cruel twist of fate would have it that Oswin was the one that made the original offer, but I'm not angry at him so much. By the way, Dave, I've been here before. It's been true the whole time.
How the fuck is this just now coming up now that he has a connection to Oswin? Which we inferred just by the fact that, like, something has to be happening in the story, so it must be that, I guess, was our level of inference. Like, I don't know, he experimented on children, and we're all young, and we're here for seemingly a reason at this point. Like, the moment we found out that Dave's dad was here, it's like, okay, so Sal's sister was experimented on by Osmond, right? That's how this works. Like, that was the level of implication. It's just like, it's just pattern recognition. But the way that he just introduces it out of nowhere now, while saying he won't talk about it, I'm losing my mind. Wait, so
I'm a little bit
you
upset.
confirmed it?
Not explicitly, although I imagine he's just playing his cards close to his chest.
Sal, he's dead. He's dead, Sal. He's not doing anything. Did you do anything to him?
There is no need for revenge. I realize that. I probably only lasted through the medical trials my parents put me through because of my blood. One in particular was very bad.
What? You confirmed it? Are they implying that he... I can't tell if they're implying that he confronted Oz before he died in the couple of days between when we said he was there and when he died. Or if this is like a conversation that's supposed to be in the route he's alive still in, and he has like recently confronted Oz, but it's the wrong timeline. Bad? In what way?
Yeah.
So Sal's the only survivor of the trial that killed all the babies.
He's the one person that survived, yeah.
I was the only one that survived. Some test drug or something.
I'm pretty sure we called that. Right?
You definitely said this a while ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
You don't sound too shocked, as if you've heard this story before.
Well, maybe.
Dave.
Oswin told me.
I should have assumed. But the payout my parents got lasted for quite some time. They were still splurging when I split from the family and sought independence.
Maybe,
What kind of fucking payout is that?
maybe some weirdo, maybe the weirdo situation going on right now, maybe the whole explanation for why what's his name Sal is so bizarre and doesn't understand what salad is because he was in the vault the whole time, Dave. He didn't have a childhood, Dave. Ugh.
You grew up as a lab rat, and this just somehow hasn't come up this whole time. Then what happened next?
I was young, so I got work where I could, studied where I could, and took my high school equivalency test so I could say that I graduated.
So you missed a lot of school?
A lot of the typical school stories you hear about and probably have lived through I haven't experienced, but I'm here now. I'm happy enough.
Well, that's good.
Realistically, I should have escaped sooner if I had anyone I could have escaped to. A common point Orlando and I share is our undeserved loyalty to our blood family.
It's a
wish they
reptile
could
thing,
just-
Dave.
It would be interesting if they showed us that instead of just telling us that, because the only thing that we've learned so far is that Sal doesn't like his family, and Orlando also doesn't really like his family, and we don't really know anything
It's like,
about them, and we've never seen it.
It's a
So them
it's a
being
strange
like,
line for
we're
it to be
too
like,
loyal to them
Yeah.
is like, what? You literally all you've done is shit talk them the whole time.
yeah, because he only talks about his family as a source of trauma. It's a common enough thing to act that way, I guess, but the most baffling part of that line is the fact that he's referring to Orlando as a reference point. Like, we're already familiar with Orlando's family loyalty, and that's what he's like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we don't know that. We don't know that
we
at all.
don't.
Orlando's never been established as being loyal to his family. His family has been intentionally left vague and unexplained for almost the entire game, with the only implication being that he gets killed by the Dragon Mafia in one of the timelines. So we're like, there's a Dragon Mafia? Is Orlando the Dragon Mafia? What's going on here? And we've then had one conversation introducing his dad as a villain, maybe, and we still haven't interrogated that or have like there's an emotional scene to have with Orlando after that news that hasn't happened. So we've learned nothing about that bond either. There's no follow-up there. Wait, so
Yeah.
you still...
No, not anymore. I'm further along than where Orlando is. He still needs to. Well, he'll get there eventually.
When did you meet Dean among all this? Because, like, it wasn't during school, obviously.
Bowling. Just an activity we were both doing one night and started conversing. He's very quick to make friends, as I'm sure you're aware, given what I know of your first meeting with him.
See, one of the things here that's a little bit confusing to me is, how do I explain this? He has already told us this.
Yeah, we know they bowled together.
So
I don't know
why
if we
is
knew
he
that
telling it to us again?
I don't know if we knew that they
Like-
met that way, but yeah. Just odd. Also, Dave's just asking that randomly. Like, we're just kind of hitting random topics, I guess. It's a weird... I guess he's just asking, like, how he got his footing and met people in general and started having a life afterwards. I'm trying to charitably interpret what's going on here, because I'm like, he just dumped that he was experimented on by Oswin here, and his sister was sold, and you're getting to, like, him bowling with Dean. And I'm like, there's more pressing questions, Dave. So I was trying to even connect to how it was even related to the topic, but it's like, I guess he's just wondering how Sal started functioning socially or something. Huh. Oh, right. Yeah, it was a coffee shop for me, though.
He's a good friend, a little dense but very well-meaning. I appreciate the joy he brings into my life. Even for the troubles he brings with it comes too.
What?
What? Or
Even
getting into
for
the parts of the game that people haven't played or played enough, and you can tell by the amount of typos and sentences that are just like the density of confusion there
I'm
has
genuinely
increased
wondering
to a degree.
I'm genuinely wondering if the average furry visual novel player just kind of like taps A every couple seconds while just scanning the lines half consciously and doesn't really process what they're reading. Because like,
Yeah.
how does no one mention some of these? I was like, this is not some of these just aren't sentences. I don't know how that. It's sloppy that they make it in, but it's even stranger that supposedly
that no one
it's
calls them
stayed
out.
in for years. I snickered quietly
this is
to
the
myself
point of a
before looking at
Patreon.
like what's like nobody in your community is giving feedback. Like they literally have exclusive early builds before that goes to the public, and it's I mean I've been there. Like I struggle where I'm like, here's my video essay, guys. Here's my script early. Okay, here's me the edited version early. Hey, you notice anything? And silence.
Yeah.
I snickered quietly to myself before looking at my letter tiles, fumbling with a word and placing it down on the board. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring him up.
No, it's okay. Dean and I are still friends, hopefully. It's just a mess. I'm sorry, what did you say? I didn't mean to bring him up. Dave brought him up. Dave brought him up. Dave was like, and how'd you meet Dean? And I was trying to interrogate why he brought Dean up, because what the fuck does that have to do with the topic? And now Sal's no, it's okay. Dean and I are still friends, hopefully. It's just a mess.
A mess is a good way of describing a lot of things of late, huh?
Yeah.
Dean mentioned that he was planning a date tonight. Dinner.
It's another one of those dates where they don't tell you that there's a date happening and you don't go to it and he eats alone.
Yeah, despite also being like famously they've never been on a date before, so this is an unusual milestone that he was doing out of nowhere. You probably know more than I do at this point.
It put some context into why Orlando didn't want myself, Haas, or Roswell in that area of the house tonight. It makes sense as to why he'd ask Orlando, too.
This is
He planned it with Orlando?
Okay, so here's two things. I know that it has been established, in scare quotes, that Dean and Orlando know each other and are friends, I guess. The thing there that's confusing is he planned it with Orlando to get to you, right? So that we would go on the date with him or whatever. It's this big production, finally, so that Dave and Dean can have a date. That could be interesting. Wouldn't it be really interesting if this whole concept was brought to us, like, with Dean and Orlando, like, whispering to each other in Orlando, and then maybe we encounter a scene where Orlando and Roswell are talking, and Orlando's like, you can't go in the kitchen. Don't go in the kitchen. And then Dave is like,
action-based scenes of characters interacting that foreshadow the thing that's going to happen. Because apparently everyone has been coordinated on this date except us.
Yes.
Who literally had no idea it was coming.
Yeah, and the idea is like,
and breaking up with him for unrelated reasons.
Yes, and then it could create tension where it's like, wait, why is Orlando telling Roswell not to go into the kitchen, the dinner tonight, or not to go into the dining room tonight? This is weird. And then Dean comes up to us and it's like, hey, Dave, I wanted to take you to the dining room. And then there's paranoia and tension between Dave and Dean of like, does he know? Is Orlando going to try to make a move? Is Orlando making a move? Or is Dean making a move? What's going to happen? Are we going to get hurt? Is Orlando the killer? Is Dean the killer? And then finally things get to a fever pitch and we tell Dean, I can't date you right now. Orlando's going to kill us. And then Dean goes, this was a date that I planned for us. And Orlando goes, I was going to cook. And then Dave's the proper asshole in the situation, but we've resolved a bunch of character things and then shown that these people are fucking friends. Oh, I don't like to suggest solutions to problems because solutions that you use that are suggested by readers are often wrong because they don't have a full context for what's going on. But this is a very fumbled plotline.
Yeah. Most of it stems to like just one, there's just too much writing always about everything, but also like every character just needs to play a more active role all the time about basically everything. Like this, they just need to be doing stuff and interacting and having dynamics and having conversations with more people than just Dave one-on-one all the time, and they need to stop disappearing the moment Dave's not there or they're not the exact person mandatory for the plot right now. Like, we see Tyson and Orlando interacting for the 30 seconds it takes to establish that the headache thing is happening. But and that stands out because characters almost never interact, because like that's just a dynamic that doesn't exist mostly. But almost every scene would be improved by having more characters in it, because then their different perspectives are bouncing off each other, their personalities are being developed. The scene is more efficient because you're actually doing more things with it across multiple characters. But also just everyone just feels like a Oblivion NPC just standing around waiting for you to talk to them and do their cheese wheel dialogue to persuade them into unlocking their next loyalty mission, where they explain their trauma, where half of it's the stuff they said before and half of it's new. And it's so strangely paced. It's so odd. And yeah, like almost every time I think about rewriting a scene, it involves having more characters in the scene and them taking a more active role. Akin to like how my idea of like how to handle the road explosion was like what if it was it'd be a really interesting scene if like Dave was running from from Jack, and he encountered his friends and he's freaking out and can't explain what's happening very well, and he's having like a panic attack or a heart attack or something. And instead of just drugging him, they just have this friend that's passing out, and they're like, oh fuck, we need to get to a hospital. And they dial the phones and try the other phone, like, no, we can't get a signal, what's going on? And that's when they find out the signal is out, is that moment, because that just happened. They just say it like everything else in this game. They just say stuff. So Dave gets drugged in the game we played. He gets drugged, then like the next day someone just says the phones are out. Like, it's so much more interesting if they're like, oh fuck, we need to call an ambulance, something's wrong with Dave, like this is bad, and then they call an ambulance, but no, none of their phones are working, that's bad, that's a new bad. And then everyone's like, well shit, we're his friends, we're gonna carry him, there's a bunch of big dudes in this crew, we're gonna fucking grab Dave, we're gonna try to get down to the road. And then like on their way there, the fucking explosion happens, and like that's this all of the same things being established, but in a dynamic like action way, and characters are doing stuff, and like that, you know, that they care about each other, and there's tension and like scary. It's scary. Like they're like imagining that scene playing out. Like if they're like carrying this like semi-conscious Dave through the woods down the driveway in the rain or something, and as the sun's going down, and then there's just a fucking the earth shakes and there's a fireball ahead of them, and they arrive, and when they get there, they just see the fucking like edge of Silent Hill abyss instead of a road. Like visually seeing it, then there's like a CG of just this fucked up missing road. That's like a scene. Instead of like Dave gets drugged, he hangs out in his bed for 24 hours. Someone says the phones don't work. Another day passes. Boom. Everyone wakes up to a boom. They're like, I think the road's out. And everyone goes back to bed, continues to not do anything about the road or think about the road. I'm like, I'm just like, why? All the elements that are at play can easily be combined into scenes that are active and do things. And instead, everyone stands around and explains the plot, and nothing happens on screen, and any tension that happens is dumped immediately. And I'm pulling my hair out.
Yeah,
because it's a great idea to have the date. It's a great idea, and also great character drama for what you suggested, where like everyone except Sal and Dave knows about this date that Dean is planning, and you're about to crush his dreams because you've just steeled yourself to breaking up with him properly, and it's the worst timing ever, and or even like you're pushed like if you're somebody that's been too Leo and too clingy and too pushy about this, and you're not receptive to it, then breaking his heart in the middle of this date would be like the big dramatic beat you do in a narrative. And that would also better justify his anger, because all this stuff is built up, instead of him just sitting on the floor in a greenhouse unrelatedly and be like, I was thinking of whittling, Dave. Maybe we'll go on a date. I think we should break up.
It also just does an interesting
angry.
thing. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing because like it also sets up Dave as like, it plays into his depression idea of him being like a little bit paranoid and thinking that everyone's kind of out to get him, and then like he's not able to make decisions and he's too scared, and then finally at the last minute when someone's gonna do something nice for him and try to do something for him, he blows it up by just drastically misreading everything. Like that gives us character about him. He has no character. People just tell us things. And then we're subjected to really insane scenes where Dean is like, I'm gonna whittle, Dave. You know what whittling is? It's when you whittle. It's like, okay, great. Thanks, bud. All right. Like it doesn't make sense to me. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Let's see.
All right.
Guess he's a cook?
Because he's gay.
What?
Dean's a little like me, I suppose. We like what we like, although I'd imagine he'd have to answer specifically for himself. What? That was not the answer I was expecting. This doesn't make any sense.
It makes sense he'd ask Orlando too because he's gay?
He's...
This has come up before when we joked about we previously joked about whether or not Haas was coming out as liking guys or girls when he said he was bi because it's so poorly set up. But like, this might be the first time someone has been called gay.
yes.
Like,
but here's the thing that I'm confused about. He asked, or is Orlando involved in helping with this, or did Dean tell him not to show up because he's gay?
I don't know. It just says he'd ask Orlando. It's being introduced.
Why he'd ask Orlando too, though? Does that mean that now Orlando and Dean are going on a date because Orlando is gay? Or is he saying Dean told Orlando not to go there?
I guess he confided in Orlando in what was happening because he's gay. Which
doesn't.
I don't know what to do with that. One, because we're so far into this game that we're past the point of just presuming everyone's gay in this narrative. But also, like,
everyone is on the table. Period.
Yeah,
I deeply
we've not been given any reason
this.
to think that anyone isn't gay, or at least gay, also gay.
It's incredible that the game is
like
crossing these T's and dotting these I's, but we just don't. It won't progress anything else. Like, characters don't know what salad is, but they're like, what do you mean? We have to establish this. Orlando's gay, reader. Did you not know that? Why did you presume otherwise?
What? Sal put the rest of his tiles on the board and lazily updated his score, setting his pen down. The rest of his tiles? I guess he means the rest of the word he was making. Like, you don't usually run out of tiles unless you put out down, like, the craziest word just now.
Would you like to do some coloring now?
Sal, we're having a conversation. This is... I think I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to?
I'd like to keep spending some time together if you're willing.
We're just moving on. We're just moving on. Okay. Well, sure. It's not like I have anything else going on. That's not a sentence that should exist in the script at this point. You can't... Once you write that sentence, 19 days into your death game, murder mystery, whatever you want to call this genre, you need to rewrite the scene. That shouldn't happen. You should not be like, yeah, nothing else is going on, whatever. I got nothing to do. What? Tensions are rising, Dave. Someone might die tonight, and all of our friends are going to be tearing each other apart over the coming week. I got nothing else going on. What? Is there tension or not? You're telling us to have tension, but then also telling us not, that there's nothing's happening. I'm losing it. I'm losing. It's fine. It's fine.
It's a shame things have panned out the way they have, Dave. Outside of spending what time I have with you, there's been this air of loneliness about the place.
You've been lonely?
In a sense, I feel as though we should do something as a group again. Something to bond over that isn't such doom and gloom.
Like
Maybe we could watch that one movie, the one with the 2 towers. You know which one that is, Dave?
Yeah.
Do you know the name of that movie?
World Trade Center. Yes, Sal. We should have a family. We should have a friendly a vacation on this vacation. That should have been happening. It'd be nice, but
We're out of ice cream, Dave. This would be something to replace that, maybe.
what the fuck are you saying to me? Oh well,
We'll find time soon. Even if I have to arrange it. Movie night was the only big group thing we did in a positive light, and it doesn't sit right with me.
yes.
Okay.
I mean, you're right, Sal. It's fucked up that no one's hanging out on this vacation.
It's just,
But-
it's fucked up that it took 19 days for characters in this story to be like,
The game just told us that Sal has been eating his depression away in the form of strawberry ice cream every day to cope with the fact that his friends don't hang out with each other. When that felt like an... When like
that was a
seems-
revelation for us on day 3.
I don't... What is up with these people? Why are they like this? Is there any way I could help? I could try and make snacks.
I'd like that.
His smile soon faded and he nodded quietly as he got up.
Before we do anything else, I'm still worried about Dean and want to check in. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, sure. He does not make us. He cannot make up his mind. I should probably check up on Dean next, but I don't want to deal with that right now. Fucking 50 words ago in this story.
My head kind of hurts.
No, it's
Sorry, I just want to make sure.
not a problem, really. I'll just wait here. He nodded quickly and left just as much so, leaving me to pack up the game and put it away. Collapsing into one of the bean bags, I wondered how long Sal would be, and to a lesser extent how Dean was holding up. Ah!
Or,
Hi!